Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for coming to the founder pitch. How's it going?
Yeah, going well, Max. Looking forward to sharing a little bit more about Preferred. Hope you're keeping well.
Thank you for coming. Please give an introduction to yourself, and after we move straight to pitch.
Sure. So I'm Mark Francis. I'm based here in Hong Kong, CEO for Preferred, which I'll be telling you more about. Serial entrepreneur, built fintech and recruitment companies. And yeah, I've actually grew up in Asia, spent my time between Hong Kong, Malaysia, China, and a bit of time in the UK as well. Big fan of rugby as well. So looking forward to sharing some more information with you guys soon. Hi, I'm Mark Francis, the CEO for Preferred, and I'm here to talk to you about a broken recruitment market. Something that probably all of you have experienced in one way or another, either as an employer or as a job seeker. For employers, you're dealing with the overflow of CVs into your inbox. With the job seekers, you're getting no feedback to the many dozens or sometimes even hundreds of applications that you're sending. And the reason is this. What AI has done is obviously transformed all industries, but it's also created new problems. And in particular, the phenomenon of AI-generated CVs applying to AI-generated job descriptions via AI agents. There are plenty of tools out there, and any savvy job seeker is going to use them. The issue is when you're an employer and you're getting hundreds, if not thousands, of on paper perfect candidates, how do you know who to start interviewing and why? And actually, in an information age, what really is more important is what information can you trust and what information should you prioritize? And that's where Preferred comes in. We are still an AI-powered platform, but we're revolutionizing recruitment through incentivized referrals. And what that means is we're looking to keep human verification in the loop as part of this process. So what our solution does is, yes, of course, we use AI still primarily for scoring. We take a holistic view on a person. So we look at their CV, we look at their cover letter, we actually also look at their public profiles and other alternative data. And very soon we'll even be looking at AI conversations as well that are transcribed and analyzed. And then what we do is we add to that human verification. So we use humans as, in essence, the first layer or testimonial, referral, or introduction. And then that comes into our platform and then gets scored. So what we're doing is we're using the wider talent pool that has been crowdsourced through these referrers. And the impact is obviously huge. The market globally is around about $400 billion in size. It's a huge market. And we're addressing a number of different user personas. The employers, as I mentioned, where we actually can obviously help them to cut costs, save time, and also provide more accurate profiles. In the workforce, we're of course creating secondary income stream to referrers and even job seekers, many of whom might actually be out of work. It gives them a way to create some secondary income while they themselves are going through a job hunt. And of course, also we can support startups locally as well as globally by removing hiring biases as well. So how exactly does it work? This is the flow. An employer comes onto the platform, they want to post a job, they might have a JD already, which is passed automatically. We can also use AI to help them fill in the gaps. We have our own internal AI scoring engine. As I mentioned, it looks at both the JD and the CV, but it also will look at the client, where they're based. It'll also look at the individual's cover letter and other alternative data. These roles then go on the platform. They can be direct applications or people can refer candidates. So these are basically pre-vetted. And then we, of course, also have a way of storing these referrals on a public ledger. And in addition, we also have chain of provenance that can be done through this process. So this is the key thing that's involved is the AI layer. We're actually built primarily on Gemini now. We use blockchain primarily as a public ledger to register all of the referrals on the platform so they're trustless and immutable. And then we have chain of provenance, which means that we can track whether a credential is real and whether that person actually does have that qualification or experience. And then the gamification is to incentivize these referrers and job seekers to use the app well because they will be rewarded for being a good user. At the moment, we have B2B revenue model, which is from job listing fees, placement fees, which we charge 8 to 10%. We actually also have a SaaS bundle product that's been launched next month. And then later on this year, we'll be bringing in a B2C revenue model with premium subscriptions. Of course, further down the line, there's other opportunities from advertising revenue, data analytics, and API integrations too. As I mentioned, it's a huge market and one that's actually still growing, particularly in Asia Pacific, which is where the majority of the world's population is based. So we are currently starting with SMEs and startups across the Asia Pacific region. We started in Hong Kong, but we actually have already paying clients in the Philippines, and we've got plans already to get into markets like Singapore and Australia. There are some competitors in the space. We're competing with recruitment agencies, jobs boards, and other HR tech platforms, but none of them really have the complete skill set and tool offering that we do. As I mentioned, we have grand plans to grow across the region, even getting into the UK and the EU, and after that also into the US, the world's largest recruitment market. We're currently looking to raise a $750,000 pre-seed round. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks very much for your time. And here are some of our supporters that we have already. All the best.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. What's your key advantage? As you say, there are several competitors and more or less, except agency, but platform, application, they use AI, all of them. Now, what's your leverage? What's your competitive advantage on them?
Yeah, so I think that there's a few things to keep in mind. Recruitment consultancies provide a very good service. And I actually think that executive search, headhunting, has a place that cannot be automated. It's one of those industries that I don't believe it can be automated yet, because what it requires is high EQ, soft skills, and the ability to build trust over time and develop relationships. So I actually think that headhunting is quite safe for the time being. But the truth is, the vast majority of the recruitment market is very transactional and volume based. And I know this because I've been a recruiter myself, and I've owned recruitment consultancy businesses, and I've worked in other ones. What we're increasingly seeing now is a lot of recruitment consultants are very passive. They actually are posting jobs themselves on eFinancial Careers, JobsDB, LinkedIn, and other platforms. When a good profile comes in, they're obviously interviewing that person, and they're trying to send them to the client. And the client is also using these tools as well. So then it just becomes about speed. So you can see that actually that model is kind of broken. It doesn't make sense. There's not much of a value add there at all. And in fact, you end up coming across the same profiles. So what we're looking to do is get away from that and offer something that's a little bit more curated. We want to tap into the passive candidates, the people that you might know about, that you might go and have a glass of wine with after work. It could be a family member that you see over the holidays that mentions to you in confidence they're currently looking for another role. We want to find something a little bit more passive, which actually in many respects can be a better profile, as opposed to somebody that is super actively applying for every single role that they can find. That's actually not always the best profile to be hiring. And obviously, especially in the current market where there are going to be more people out of work, what will become more valuable are actually the ones that are in work, is the truth. So I think that there is still a use case for this type of a business.
So cutting the noise, having the referral.
Correct. So basically, as I said, in an information age, the problem is not getting access to profiles. It's understanding what information you can trust and which information to prioritize. That's the most important thing.
How does a referral stay applying AI? The referral is a very old-fashioned way to do stuff, right? And after you move to AI, which is the last frontier, how do you merge them?
Yeah, so look, this is the novel part of the solution, right? Is we're obviously utilizing referrals, which is not exactly new. People have been using referrals for all sorts of businesses. I'd say the difference is for us, we've really systematized it, right? We really built it in. It's trackable. You can log in. There is a dashboard. You can track all of your referrals. You can see at what stages they're even at in interview processes. So that information becomes quite clear. And previously, you would traditionally refer somebody and you maybe never heard anything afterwards unless you constantly followed up and chased. So the idea is you could just log into a dashboard and track all of your referrals in a systemized way. That's one part. The second is obviously with AI. Yes, everyone has to use AI. People say that the AI companies really, you need to have it. You be using AI to even be in the race. And the tools are extremely powerful now. Even models from a couple of years ago couldn't really bring that same level of sophistication that you can have now. So the AI scoring is obviously important. As I mentioned, we're not just looking at a CV and a job description. I think that kind of buzzword bingo is not innovative anymore. It's looking at something deeper, right? It's when a recruitment consultant sees a good CV, they call that person. So they're doing a voice vetting. They might look at their LinkedIn profile. They're looking at that vetting. They look at their GitHub if they're a developer. They look at their portfolio if they're a research analyst or a designer. They're always looking for this other kinds of information. And maybe also they'll do a reference check. So if we can basically have all of those aspects of vetting and automate it, it allows us to obviously scan and screen so many more profiles and ensure that there is a much more accurate level of profile been introduced to the employer. And that's what I think the technology has now allowed us to do. And really, you couldn't even do that 3 years ago. It's all moved quite quickly. So that's why I feel that this is the right time where for this kind of business to obviously do well.
I mean, let me touch a bit the business model. It's a B2B. How do you want to integrate the B2C?
Yeah, so we've started obviously with the B2B revenue model, as I mentioned, which is from listing fees, a SaaS bundle, and a success fee. And obviously the AI scoring works to match their candidate for the role. The truth is we've actually already started testing it. It, of course, also works on the reverse. You can actually present a client, a job description, and a location to the candidate and give them a better understanding of what roles are actually going to be suitable for them based upon their own score as well. So you're kind of reversing the score for the individual. And so what we can actually do is on the B2C model, present that data set to the job seeker and actually be saying to them, look, you should be speaking to these organizations, what have you. LinkedIn has a very basic level of this, which is sort of find jobs that are similar, which is sort of structured based upon how those other jobs look, but it's not as dynamic as what we're talking about. And the idea is actually every day you log in, even every time we get new experience, that's constantly been updating. So that's how you can obviously help them. There's other things you can be doing, but obviously we don't want to do the AI, the CV refining because we're trying to get away from that, right? We're trying to get beyond just the CV refining. But what we can do is give people exposure to certain kinds of ways to enhance their job search or other ways that they can be smart about it. But in particular, it's about getting valid experience. That's the truth. It's about having either projects, work experience or other kind of study, which is going to help you along. But yeah, the B2C, we haven't launched it yet. It probably won't be until the end of this year. We've still got plenty to do on the B2B side.
I mean, touching the round is 750K. Do you already have some commitments for the round or that's a newly launched round?
Yeah, good question. So last year, the business was primarily bootstrapped, mainly by me. But since the beginning of this year, we have been looking to raise external capital. The reason is, one, the MVP was launched in November. So we've obviously had that running now for a few months. And two, we got our first revenues in January. So we now have revenue as well as the MVP. So we are going to the market to raise capital. We do actually have a term sheet from a major Web3 investor in Hong Kong. And on the back of that, we have also now another venture studio in Hong Kong that is going to be joining the round, as well as an angel syndicate. So most of the investors currently are based in Hong Kong. I think there's a huge opportunity with overseas investors in particular. And certainly that's why I'm keen to speak with the audience. Hopefully, anybody who's been involved in either hiring or the job market understand the problems there and might be keen to be involved in a business that's trying to solve them.
Let's close with 10 seconds of elevator pitch. Let's convince these investors.
Sure. Preferred is here to solve the phenomenon of AI-generated CVs applying to AI-generated job descriptions via AI agents. And we're going to be solving the problems in the hiring market moving forward. Please do reach out to us.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much for coming to the Founder Pitch.
Thanks for having us, Max.